And to this day, it was 2019 when we lost our nephew Brendan. We haven't had that was like the biggest significant tragic death in our family. Losing Brandon so young and to suicide, him dying by suicide, was obviously something that nobody. It's just like I think about it now, it's like, and it still gives me chills because it's been all these years and it's still raw. It still feels, every day we talk about him, every day I think about him, my sister, my mom, and it was just a horrific period of time. And just when I found out about Kennedy Kids Foundation and Bailey, like when the first year I came in and donated the balloons, I said I would need to be part of this.
I made it through the rough time. I made it through the tough time. I made it through the bad time. So now I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. I gotta get mine. Gotta weather the storm. Okay. One day we gon' get on. Talk to 'em. You ain't got a choice.
Welcome to Bailey and Buck Unplugged, where we talk about sports, entertainment, and mental health in support of the Kennedy Kids Foundation. If you're struggling with mental health, we encourage you to speak up and get help. A great place to start is 988. That's the free crisis prevention lifeline. Or you can check out the resources tab at kennedykids.org. If you are in an absolute emergency, please dial 911. Either way, we want you to know that you are not alone and that you don't have to struggle, and speak up, get help. There are resources available to you, and we are here to support you. If you're new around here, I want to introduce you to our host. I am Misty Buck. I am an author and a mental health and performance coach. And my co-hosts are Robert Bailey. He is the president of Rosenhaus Sports, the president of Kennedy Kids Foundation. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, two-time college national champion. He's an NFL record holder, and he's an ESPY winner. And we are also joined by Bailey Brooks Mashburn. She is a celebrity wedding and event planner, a former NFL cheerleader, and the executive director of the Kennedy Kids Foundation.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Bailey and Buck Unplugged, where real stories meet real impact. Today, we are so honored to welcome someone whose presence literally lights up every room and whose heart has turned personal tragedy into powerful purpose. She is a former NFL alumni Miami Dolphins cheerleader, a thriving entrepreneur as the owner of Dani's Balloons, and a devoted Kennedy Kids Foundation board member. Of course, my best friend. But beyond all the titles, accolades, and accomplishments, Susy Ramirez is a woman driven by love, strength, and resilience. About 7 years ago, she lost her beloved nephew to suicide, which was a devastating loss that forever changed her life and the life of her family members. So instead of letting that pain silence her, Susy chose to amplify her voice and advocate fiercely for youth mental health. Through her tireless work with the Kennedy Kids Foundation, which we're so grateful to have her for, she is helping us break stigmas, open hearts, and make sure that no family feels alone in the fight for mental wellness. This episode is more than just a conversation. It's a tribute to lives lost, a celebration of community, and a call to action. So join us as we sit down with Susy Ramirez, warrior, leader, friend, and changemaker, on today's deeply meaningful episode of Bailey and Buck Unplugged.
Welcome, Susy Balloons.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Dani's Balloons. Dani's Balloons is the name of the company.
Yes, so Dani is her daughter, and Susy is the mom, and it's Dani's Balloons, but I call her Susy Balloons. That's how I talk. When I talk to people about Susy, I call her Susy Balloons because it lets them know that she also has a balloon business on the side to help people who are doing events like yourself with her balloons. She's got the best balloons in town, the best balloons.
Thank you.
Let me switch it. She's got the best balloons in the city. Right. Yes. So for anyone that wants balloons, please go to Susy Susy's business
Oh,
or
go
her
to
society.
Danny's balloon.
Danny's balloons.
Not
Yes,
listen
there
to
we
Robert.
go.
That's his
Danny's
term.
balloons.
If you want to support her, the only way to find her is using Danny's balloon. So let's not confuse the customer base that she's.
We will not. We will not. All right.
Anyway, Susie, so how we like to kick off our show here is we always start with our opening question for all of our guests, which is a focus on mental health and any personal mental health struggles that you've had within your career. So it could be within the balloon career, could be within your alumni cheerleading career. It could be anything that you'd love to share with our listeners and our viewers about your personal struggle with mental health and when you found something that was the most challenging that you had to overcome for yourself.
Right. You know, it's crazy because as we get older, right, as adults, you start like going back in your life and you start seeing like episodes of my life, like my childhood, my teenage years, and adult life, and even up to now. I started thinking to myself, there was a lot of times where I struggled with mental health. Obviously, there were not signs that I recognized myself, but now that I see, I know that I can be like, I was struggling then, I was struggling then, I was struggling then. And I realized that I went through a lot of period of times that I have mental health, even through my childhood, like, you know, leaving Honduras. I was born in Honduras, leaving Honduras, coming to America, to a new country where, you know, English was not my first language. And I was bullied in elementary school because we were not rich family. You know, my mom pretty much raised us by herself. I was a family, 7 siblings. I wore hand-me-down clothes. So, you know, you get bullied in school because you don't speak the language and you don't have the new clothes and you have to eat. Your lunch is not as pretty lunch as everybody else's and you don't have the latest shoes. So
Right.
I remember getting bullied through elementary school, middle school, even through high school. I didn't have a brand new car. And then as an adult, I try out, you know, like Bailey said, for the Dolphins cheerleaders. And then you realize then you have to keep up with everybody. You have to look good. You have to be like with your hair and your makeup. And you don't get paid a lot. We're not getting NFL player salaries. So you still have to look the part. So a lot of the times it's coming out of your pocket. You're only getting paid $25 a game, and your hair and makeup is more than $25 a game. So you struggle with keeping up to looking beautiful all the time, and them telling you everywhere you go out, you have to be full hair, full makeup.
Yeah.
And mind you, when we were cheerleaders, social media wasn't a thing. So thank God for that, right? Because
Thank God for that.
I can imagine the pressure that they have to deal with it now, being in the eye of everything. So, you know, and now as an adult, you know, I was a divorcee, having to raise my kids, going back and forth, dealing with the business. And even, you know, I look back now, 2024 was one of my personal challenge year. I lost my father that year. I struggled a lot in my relationship. My son had a tragic accident. It was just a lot of things going on that year for me. It felt like when that year ended and I year to 2025, I felt like it was a relief. Like I wanted that 2024 to shut down because at one point in my life, I felt like this is like, it cannot get any worse than this. So it was very challenging for me, 2024. And then for our family, and then to this day, you know, it was 2019 when we lost our nephew, Brendan. We haven't had, that was like the biggest significant tragic death in our family. Losing Brendan so young and to suicide, him dying by suicide, was obviously something that it's just like, I think about it now, it's like, and it still gives me chills because it's been all these years and it's still raw. It still feels, you know, every day we talk about him, every day I think about him, my sister, my mom, and it's just, it really doesn't impact. And although he wasn't my son, my nephew, it's a pain. You see the pain of my sister and the pain of his brothers and sisters and my daughter, the cousins. It was just a horrific period of time. And just when I found out about Kennedy Kids Foundation and Bailey, like when the first year I came in and donated the balloons, I said, I would need to be part of this. I need to do something because I know the pain that we went through and seeing, Robert, Tina, you, the pain, and I'm like you say all the time, Robert, like you want nobody ever to feel what you going through. So I'm like,
Right.
what is it that I can do? Well, my little piece of grain that I can put into, being an advocate, being a spokesperson, reaching out, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Part of it. And that's
Yeah,
why I'm here,
I realized really after not only we started a foundation to help kids in these families, but I tell you what, I realized from the events that Bailey has put on for us, and we've all put on for the community. I realized that Kennedy Kids as a platform has become also a platform for people who have gone through something, have experienced suicide within the family, that they use our foundation as a platform to come and help the community, right? So people on our board, people in different in our groups that help us with the events. Our foundation is actually a platform that helps them get through their tragedy, right? Not just by giving back, but just by coming to us and being in a group that accepts them and understands them, right? Yeah. Everyone in our foundation has some experience with mental health, suicide, whether it's directly in their family or friends or friends, loved one. And so people come to us and say, hey, I want to be a part of your foundation. And I realize over time from us being in this space for 3 years that our foundation is actually like a good place for them to turn around and help themselves by helping others by coming to our foundation. A lot of us have that experience. What were you going to say, baby?
It's a really that's funny you say that, because that's why Nee joined the board, because I was personally dealing with mental health struggles and she posted it on social media. I called her and was like, hey, do you want to participate with us? Because I think it will change your mental state just by helping and outboard. And that same thing with Susy, like the same thing with Orly. So a lot of people do join us for that reason. So great point. Susy, what is, like you mentioned 2019, the loss of Brandon, you mentioned 2024 being one of the hardest years. What are some of the things that you've been doing to get through that, to push through it? Like, how are you not looking at like suicide ideations for yourself? What are the things you're doing for yourself mentally to make it over 2019 or 2024, or the combination of both?
Well, you always, obviously, I always think about my kids first, and then I think about not putting my family through that endure pain or the tragic. I would not ever want to put them through that. And what do I do for myself? Because I'm not going to lie to you. There's times that even now that I feel like, you're struggling with finances, the things, how the world is right now. You see, you turn on the TV and you see all these tragedies and you're like, what's going on? Like, it can bring any of us into a state of mind that it makes you think, like, what's my way out? So what I do to keep myself motivated, like self-motivate myself, I always find a way to do something that makes me feel better. I work out, I go to Pilates, I keep myself busy. I try to always be involved doing things like, donating and participating, whether something I'm not going to not necessarily get, paid back or receive some kind of reward for it. I just do it because it fills me and I enjoy it. We were just in Honduras last week, and before we left, one of Brandon's, when he passed, he had like on his phone, he had like a list of things that he wanted to do before he died. And one of his dreams was that he wanted to start it was called Brandon's Sandwich Project. So he wanted to do sandwiches and go give them out to homeless people on the street.
That's amazing.
So when we were in Honduras, every time we go to Honduras, we try to do that before we leave. So we went out and we bought, me and my mom went and we bought all the things to make sandwiches. We made 100 sandwiches and we put chips and we put cookies and a fruit and a water and we passed them out. And it was so beautiful, but at the same time sad, because when we ran out, we saw more people and we were like, oh.
Right.
we wish we would have more, like more time, more money, more everything to be able to do it. And we were literally like nickel and dime to put everything together. And it was just like the feeling of putting, like doing the assembly line, doing the sandwiches and putting them in the bags and giving them to these kids. I took pictures. I haven't been able to post it, but it wasn't only Hondurans people. It was crazy because there was a lot of Venezuelans in Honduras as well. Because since they're still coming, leaving Venezuela, they have to start by Honduras. It's kind of like a way there. You see all these kids there, and it just really breaks your heart. So that project we also do here, and that's something that my sister started to do it on his anniversary when he passed. Instead of being a day of sadness, we do that. But when we go to Honduras, we always do it before we leave as a memory thing, as a sign of pride, like a good thing that we did something.
That's beautiful.
So, it is so beautiful. And I have to ask you, because you are Honduran and you are a naturalized citizen, like what the mental health status is for you and your family members while you're watching all of these things happen. I know you mentioned Venezuelans stopping in Honduras and what's going on with all the ICE raids right now. Like that's got to be a mentally challenging thing for the people in your family as well, just to watch and see what's going on. How are you guys dealing with that?
It's sad. And for me, in my person, like I speak for myself, it's sad because when I see a lot of the ICE agent being Latin,
you can't believe it.
Even that, I'm like, how? Like, it's just, I just can't. And I get that's why they're covered their face, because there's got to be a sense of shame, right? I mean,
well, it's also a sense of protection because of all the cancel culture. They don't want to be identified. And
I see, like, I mean, regardless, a lot of them are American born. You're still your last name and you're still Latin. Like that's your roots. So that to me is is hard to understand and to see how even people, my community, my Latin people, they're like, oh yeah, but they shouldn't have come. Yes, I agree. If you did something, you came and you were a criminal, fine. But in some cases, there's a lot of injustice. You know, like arresting somebody, using a 5-year-old as a bait to arrest them. And there are people that came here because we came as immigrants, and then our situation, you know, we were able to become civilized, but we didn't come here and we were not taking advantage of the country or being criminals. We actually came and worked and paid our taxes and did everything.
Right.
So not everybody that comes here that is and you know, but it's heartbreaking. I just really hope that it gets better, because I just don't think that that's America to me.
No, and I think you're such an upstanding member of the community. Obviously, you and I have been friends as long as Robert did. I met you and Robert in 2003, all through the Dolphins. But you mentioned earlier in your story that you didn't speak English when you first got here, and bullied for that. And then, you know, you still mention your Honduran background, and then with what's going on, and you are still very prominent in, you know, a very heavily populated Latin area. The owner, but then you've come and you've like opened restaurants, like multiple restaurants. You've opened multiple clothing stores, especially so great for the woman who was laughed at and ridiculed for not being able to dress well to open up Purple Rain. Yeah, you had 7 Purple Rain retail outlets across the city. Like all the cheerleaders were shopping there. It was amazing. She had a gorgeous store in Miami Lakes, Robert, that was the size of an H&M.
I didn't even know that.
All the things. She also was the stylist for Emmy Award winner of like 7-time or 8-time Emmy Award winner Pamela Silva from Telemundo.
I didn't know that.
From Univision, yes.
Thank you. The Univision, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
How did you get into that?
Fashion. Well, I've always loved fashion, and I actually started working at a little boutique, and then I was like, I want to become the buyer. Let me have a chance to become the buyer. And then I became the buyer. And then eventually I went on and opened my own boutiques and ended up having 7 boutiques. This is before social media, websites, e-commerce, any of that. Anything of that was around. But yeah.
Barely internet. We had barely
internet. It's funny that you say that, Bailey, because when I was getting bullied at school, those girls were coming to the store to buy from me. And I was getting bullied at school. And it's coming by from me. And then also when I tried out for like cheerleading at school or anything, I didn't make the team. here I go and I try it for the NFL, and some of these girls are trying out for the NFL. They don't make it, and I try out with zero experience and make it. It's kind of like, you see, karma.
Well, no, we love that one because Susie and I have similar backgrounds. So I was bullied as a child. I never had friends. And so I have this complex where everybody has to like me because I changed so many different schools. I was always fighting to get into like a group, any group. And I would literally like,
you just want to be accepted. Yeah.
And so when I moved to the US and it's kind of like you start over again, I was like, I was fine because I'd started over so many times trying to break into these groups. But the girl that was the girlfriend of the owner of this mortgage company I started working at, she had tried out for Dolphins 4 times and she'd been a dancer since she was 5. I'd never danced a day in my life. Like didn't go to college, didn't dance in high school, none of that. And didn't even try to out for the team in high school because nobody liked me.
How'd you guys do that? How do you not have experience and then go beat out people with experience?
Because if you're pretty and your personality is peppy and perfect and you have high energy, they show you a 5, 6, 7, 8 count, like 2 counts of a routine. And if you can pick up the count and you come back the next day and you've polished and perfected it, they know that they can train you. But they can't make someone pretty and look the part. They can't make someone's personality better, but they can teach you to dance. So Susie and I were both in the remedial dance classes where we had to come in an extra practice every single week because it was hard for us to keep up because we weren't professionally trained dancers.
Oh, wow.
But we were gems. They polished us and they just saw that beauty in us.
Right. Wow.
Literally. I mean, I know to this day that's what it really was for me because you were different, you know. We both were different compared to everybody else. And we stood out, even though we didn't know we had 2 left feet. We still stood out.
How long did you dance? How long did both of you dance? How long did you do the dolphin thing for?
Susie was on the Dolphins over the course of 3 decades. Let her tell you this.
Well, I cheered from 07. I'm sorry, from 97 to 07. So I was there 10 years.
What?
I was in, but listen.
10 years of making $25 a game?
No, listen. It's not 10 years. Sorry. I shared in between those years in a 10-year span, but I only shared for 5 years. Because I cheered for 3 years first, 97 to 2000. Then I took off 2 years. I had my daughter. I went back 1 more year, cheered 1 more year, then took off another 2 years, and then went back again for my last season after I had my son. So I had my kids in between the 10-year span, but I kept coming back and forth. And then the last season is when I cheered with Bailey. Because when we met, we were not even in the team. We were in the team until last year.
We were together. I was on the team. She was on the calendar shoot. So she was still involved. So like a lot of alumni cheerleaders are still involved.
I got you.
There's a huge joke for Susie because she's been technically they class us by decades when they talk to you. They're like, okay, the 90s over here, 2000s over here, 2010s over here, 2020s over here. So Susie actually falls in the 90s, the 2000s, and the
2010. I'm like in 3 decades. I'm like, whenever we do that, I'm like, let me see which choreography is easier. I'll go with that one.
So she choreography because each group gets a different dance and she'll pick which one she wants to be. And she's always in mine though. That's it.
But it's
funny
crazy because I started when I was 19 and I ended when I was like 28. And then I felt like I've been doing Dolphins for 10 years, literally.
Why do you guys, this is a question. When they, if they're not paying you well, why keep going back? What was the draw? Just being
do you want our answer or do you want the answer that the Dolphins tell us we're supposed to say?
I want both answers. I want the public to know what the Dolphins tell you guys and what you guys felt inside.
Yeah, I'll let Susie, since she's the guest, answer the personal, and I'm going to say the Dolphin stock answer.
Yes. So for me personally,
it is a privilege and an honor to be a Dolphin cheerleader, and there are so many other women that want your spot. So you're going to take what we're going to give you.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, that's the Dolphins' answer.
Oh, okay.
I have 4 sisters. They don't live here. I live in Miami by myself. Well, my family lives in Utah. So for me, being part of the Dolphins, besides all the nice stuff, it felt like a sisterhood. Like you were part of a party. and you had, someone that you can relate to. You had, you made up friends. And for me, it was about that. Like, for me, it was having
Yeah.
the sisterhood, the sorority part. Yeah, you had the perks, the traveling, the being on the field. I did like football, so that was another thing. I love football. So I actually understand. I mean, to this day, I still watch football. So for me, football is a thing. So being able to dance, and once you hit the field, the first game is an undescribable feeling. I mean,
Really?
Yeah, because it's like you sit there and you just watch. Mind you, I've never been on a field. You were in a field, Robert, because you played through college, maybe through high school. You get me? Like, I had never been on a field, period. So when you step.
For football players, it's the same thing. For us, we practice a month before the game. And then the first game, when we run out of the tunnel, we're like, yeah.
Yeah, the adrenaline, like you feel like you sit there.
But you guys have the same feeling.
70,000 screaming crazy fans, and you're just standing there and you think everybody's looking at you, right? And it's just the craziness, the lights, the feel, like the whole
show, like the whole
show.
Yeah, and you're part of the package, and everyone's staring at you. We worked since April to get on the field. Like, we have to learn 25 routines. I remember NBC6 followed my whole experience my rookie year. They even gave me cameras into tryouts, and they did an article about my first game. And literally everything that I had done to get to that first moment where we burst out of the tunnel before the guys do, that's when I panicked. Like, everything I had done went out my head, and all of a sudden all I could feel was that I just wanted to throw up, because I knew there were 76,000 people. That's before Dolphins did the reno and built the 72 club and the 9 and took those 10,000 seats out. It was 76,000 people. I had never been in an environment like that, and I had to run out and then remember all the things that they taught me. Smile the whole time, make sure my boobs aren't falling out and so my uniform's not falling apart or falling off. And then get out there, and it's showtime for the next 4 hours in 1 o'clock Florida heat on top of it, by the way.
Pantyhose and tights and boots.
And you get out there and you're shaking your palms and you're doing the dances, and the whole time in your head you're just going, holy crap, how did I get this job?
So the $25, it doesn't matter at that point.
So I got a question for you guys. I got a question for you both. So for football players, when you go through that kind of high, right? For us, we go through that kind of high, and every year goes by, and then you get to that 1 year where it's your last year. It's your last year, right? And at the end of the year, it's over, and then we as football players, a lot of guys will say, nah, it didn't happen to me. But you go through a little bit of the depression knowing you're not going to play football again. Do cheerleaders, does that happen to cheerleaders for you guys as well? When it's all done and okay, I'm too old, I've aged out. Do cheerleaders go through some depression knowing they're not going to go back out there again?
Yes, of course.
Absolutely. Wow. I still have it. I watch every game and I pay attention to the cheerleaders, and I still feel like I could be out there on the field.
I could do that.
And that's why we do the alumni reunion games. That's why we participate in the alumni activities, because we still be a part of it. And when you stop, it's like you're part of nothing anymore.
Right. It ends immediately.
Yeah. But look at Susy. That's the reason why she would have taken 2 years off and come back again, then took 2 more years off and came back again. Like, I had a break in my career too. I did 1 year and was like, F this shit, this $25 a game. I already had a kid when I did my first year. And then I took 2 years off and was like, I gotta go back. And I did 4 years, after I had my second kid. But then there's a point where you just have to stop making yourself go back. But we know a cheerleader who I think you've met before, Shay Tab. She was the first, she's the on-air traffic reporter for a lot of stations. And she was our first MC at the 5K. She actually went back and tried out 3 years in a row after being on the team for several years, and they told her no. And she kept going back until they told her yes. Like, she got rejected, and she was a veteran, because some years they just like, oh, you don't fit the overall look for what.
Yeah, you got to try out every year, Robert. That's another thing.
Right. You got to
guarantee a spot.
So do cheerleaders like for NFL players? You know, we go through the depression and we go to therapy. Do you think some cheerleaders have gone to therapy after ending? Have you guys ever heard, or have you guys ever felt a depression or a sadness when it was all over that you felt like maybe you need to get therapy about it, or you just kind of handle it?
Personally, for me, no.
For my personal, I didn't, because to me, I had a wonderful experience being part of the Dolphins and being part of the NFL period. I had opportunities that otherwise I wouldn't have had. I made great friendships. I met my best friend there. So in my case, I didn't, but I'm sure some girls probably had it a little bit more harder.
Yeah, because that's their family. Some of them, that's their only family.
I also think that football players lose more than we do because there's 40 of us every year, right? Like, we're not like a face on a jersey that's selling money. And then we're not also making like millions of dollars and supporting our families. So when you guys stop, there's no more contracts. There's also no more endorsement deals. There's also no more appearances. There's no more like people rushing you and saying you're a celebrity. Right. We don't get attacked at that level. Like,
I got you.
It's not like if you're not a Dolphin fan at the game, you don't know who the cheerleaders are because you don't travel with the team and perform on somebody else's home turf.
I got you. I got you.
That team do. So I feel like we don't have that withdrawal that a lot of the players we've interviewed on this show have felt, like that you guys stops, because you also lose the celebrity level part of it.
And and our football is our livelihood. We're taking care of our whole family.
We're
not living off of 25. No.
That wasn't happening. A good wine. That's about it.
That was not happening for us. I mean, and for me, like, I feel like in my Dolphin career, you can say, I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. Like, I knew I was never going to become a captain of the group. I knew I wasn't going to go to Pro Bowl. So it wasn't like those were things that I needed to do to be able to feel accomplished and leave happy. So I got fan favorite my first rookie year. So that, for me, that was a great thing. I was like, oh my God, I'm fan favorite. So that was a good thing. And I was in the calendar shoot every year that I was in the team, and I was in the cover one year. So I feel like I accomplished a lot of things being a cheerleader in the team. So for me, I didn't think that I needed to be sad or anything about it. Yeah, sad that it ended because I knew I was going to have major FOMO because I was going to miss hanging out with my friends and the the traveling and all of that stuff.
Our season tickets, we lose our season tickets.
Yeah.
That's a nice part of having season tickets.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know it went like that deep. So having like being in the calendar and being on the cover and all those things, like are those things that you talk to your kids about and show them the calendar and, hey, look, is that like, are you guys like, man, I wish my daughter would be an NFL cheerleader? Is that something you wish for or no?
Well, I mean, my daughter was a dancer she was in competitive team in dancing, but she never showed signs of wanting to do. But it's funny that you say that because this past alumni performance we had this year, my daughter went with me. She had not been to any because she was, in school the last time we had it. She was up in New York. And then before that, she just didn't show interest. And then she was like that day, she was like, Mom, she was so proud of me. She's like, Mom, I had not seen you like this. And she was filming me and taking pictures of me. And she was like, wow. Oh, this is like, she's like, it was so fun seeing you. Like, she was intrigued about learning, like seeing me there.
Yeah, seeing you be a cheerleader.
Yeah, because they were so little when they saw me. So they really they didn't understand. And there was no social media. So we didn't get the hype like they do now.
Right.
But yeah, she saw me, so it was kind of like, like a bittersweet moment. Like she saw me there, so it was cool, And
for me, I don't know if I want Heavenly to be a Dolphin cheerleader. Like I feel like it was while it was great and we have great things to talk about it It was very difficult. Like the amount of pressure that it puts on you. You had to have a full-time job or be in school. So that was one thing. But then we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So if you had a full-time job, you were up at 7 in the morning, packing your stuff, getting ready, work at 9, off at 5, driving. I remember driving from a job, putting my tights on while driving, like those tights that you have to pull up and not put a hole in with your fingernail while driving, putting on my bottoms, putting on my top while driving, fixing my hair and makeup while driving, because I had to show up on the floor at 6, full hair and makeup, ready to go. There were no excuses, and they forced this no excuse thing down your throat. Like if you got into a car accident and you had to go to the hospital, you were required to end up at practice before practice was over if the hospital released you. You couldn't go home and relax. You had to show up or get cut from the team. If you said no to an appearance, you didn't get selected for another one. If you were a little fatter than normal on the field last week than versus this week and you were fluffy, they posted a picture of you in your locker and circled all the fat spots with big red on an 8x10.
Oh, wow.
So everyone else can see it when they walked in. And then they listed who was on the fat list. It's actually called the wait list, but we call it the fat list. They would post your name and be like, you're on the wait list, you're on notice. Like, and
You
so
need to run before practice or after practice.
all this extra stuff. So I'm like, yeah, well, I got my best friend out of it. It was amazing. It was great. I just don't know if I want my daughter to go through that kind of stress and pressure, because I just don't know if she's built the way I'm built to mentally handle it.
Are we now venturing into the dark side of cheerleading?
Yeah.
Susy, what is your dark side story of cheerleading? We just heard babies. What is your dark side story of cheerleading?
It wasn't just mine. It was Susie.
I didn't even know cheerleading had a dark side, so let's hear it.
Are you
There's gotta
kidding
be a dark side.
Listen.
The fact that they took up, the fact that I know they are not doing that now. Right? They cannot be with social media the way social media is. If they're taking pictures and circling fat spots on your body and putting it up, those girls are just waiting to end their cheerleading career so they can expose that team. There's no way teams are doing that today.
I guarantee they're doing it. They're just no longer posting it so you can take a picture. They're calling.
They're maybe just talking about it,
and they're showing it to you. They're not letting you take a photo of it. So when you're you don't have any evidence, because after that lawsuit was filed, it's with the Dolphins organization. After that lawsuit was filed against our former director, because she wasn't allowed to talk about being a virgin on Instagram on her own page. Yeah. And she was like, but I'm a Christian. I'm promoting that I'm a virgin. And she's like, if the players can get down and kneel on the field and point to God after they score a touchdown, why can't I talk about my Christian values on Instagram? But they controlled everything. We had to sign a contract that said if we left the house, we would leave full hair and makeup. We wouldn't show up to the store in roller with curlers in our hair. Like all this stuff at $25 a game. And we practice for 16 hours a week.
You don't get paid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Susy, what's one of your dark side stories? I heard babies. What's one of yours?
Well, I was my first season in the team. I was also in the wait list, fat list, wait list. And I used to get, for me, it was the dancing. I used to get so much pressure from my captain and also from obviously the director, because you're like, you need to get this, you need to get it right, you need to, and it's like the pressure of like learning the steps and making sure, like I would drive home crying sometimes because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna quit. I can't do this. I can continue on because I didn't feel like I was, up to their like it was just like. And then my husband then would be like, you're not quitting. You try it out. Look how many girls try it out and you make it. You're going to do it. And I would sit there, and even after practice, would sometimes stay in the parking lot with other cheerleaders and continue practicing my turns and my kicks and my splits until you would get it. And I had bruises in my knees and, just like scratches and everything, because you once you were in the team, you wanted to make sure that you stayed. So you sometimes like you hear people, some other girls, not from me, but that they're having, eating disorders because they're trying to keep up with, being in shape. Or they have like a lot of girls have like skin problems, and that's another thing. Like they go and spend thousands of dollars because they're gonna have to work on their skin because you're out in the sun and you're getting sunspots or blemishes or this. it's a lot. You know, it really is a lot. They provide us like for our hair and all of that stuff, but that's only one part of it. Because
Right.
you know, but it is challenging. I remember in one year, one season, one of the girls in my group, once we went in for the halftime, the director pulled her up and she's like, "You're not getting back there. You look so fat, you're not getting back on the field like that." And literally like put her down and sat her down. And I was like, it breaks my heart, like, you know, because it's body shaming. I mean, it's just sad. I mean, because not everybody is stick figure, you know, everybody's different. And I get it if you have, you know, a little belly hanging outward, but it wasn't like you were extremely fat that you couldn't be out on the field.
The expectation was that if you weighed in at, let's say, 125 pounds, you were, when they selected you on the day of auditions, when you made final cuts, if you were because that would be Saturday, Monday, Tuesday we reported for practice, or Monday night we reported for practice. So you had 3 days. They would weigh you that first day. So whatever that weight was, your first day on the squad, you were only allowed to fluctuate by 2 pounds up or down.
Right.
So good. If you were good, they consider you good. Yeah, you had to stay there.
You had to stay within that range. Once you got outside that range, then they were like, "Hey, what?" Like, because they weighed us every week. So every week you got weighed. It wasn't just a visual thing. It was also they recorded your weight every single week.
I think there's a movie in the cheerleaders. I think there's a movie in this somehow, some way, with all the, you know, fans see cheerleaders. Well, you know, I could speak for myself as a fan, right? We see just cheerleaders. We think it's just practice, have fun with the girls, right? With your friends, and you jump around and you cheer, and then you go to the game and you cheer, and then you go home, and everybody's always hunky dory. But we didn't know all this went into it, because, to be quite honest, I think, especially in pro sports, I think, you know, the fans probably look at you guys probably 10% of the time out of the 100%. The other 90 is just watching the game, except for when you come on the field and actually do a routine and then leave. You know, you rarely watch the cheerleaders on the side while the guys are on the field, right? So it's just interesting to know that all this is happening, and you got to assume that there's a lot of, you know, depression and mental health when you're being body shamed, and, you know, happening with the girls, and probably, you know, they go home and have to deal with it at home and find a way to, you know, because there's no support. There's no support for you guys.
I would like you to look at it a little differently as well. I would love for you to put us on your level. It's really not 10% of the time. It's like I think the number was 48% of the time.
Oh, wow.
For the cheerleaders, because there are fans that are only there to watch the cheerleaders. And then
really?
a lot of the women are just there with their husbands. They don't give a shit about football. They're paying attention mainly to
the cheerleaders.
So for ticket sales, right? But then we also, while you guys are in the locker room having your meetings or on the field warming up, we're on the outside of the stadium doing performances. We're doing we're doing all these things. We're signing autographs. We're doing calendar signings. We're doing photo shoots with people. We're doing small performances. We do halftime. We do the halftime performance.
Right.
If the Dolphins win the game, we do a post-game performance. If there is a win, back on the field
with the fans. Yeah.
Right. So that's that part. So what I want you to look at, though, is we're a product, just like the guys are a product, and the whole thing is an entertainment. It's a show.
A package. Yeah.
So when you get hurt and you guys get cut and you get treated like chopped liver, like at that point, we get even worse. When we get hurt, they don't even call us. There's no doctors that they send us to. They don't support for the injury. They don't pay for the injury if you're injured. We don't get to see the trainer, the team trainer. We have to go to an outside service or something. And they looked at it and that's what our experience was when we were on the team. And you're just a commodity, but you're just part of the packaging, and you're part of the whole, like, packaging up the experience from start to finish. But we do all the support work as well to keep the fan engaged while you're not playing.
Right. That's interesting.
We do certain things. Like if you have a first down, there's a first down dance. If there's a touchdown, there's a touchdown dance. If there's an onside kick, there's an onside kick dance. So the girl,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
a binder, Robert. I'll bring it to your house. They give us a binder. We have to learn all the
Handbook, a whole handbook. Yeah.
learn all the plays. We have to learn all the referee calls because that's how we know what dance is coming next.
Yes.
And we get the playlist for the music on game day, the week of the game, and we coordinate our routines to that entire playlist so that we're already prepared for what's coming. It's
Man.
a show.
Yeah,
It's a whole- that's
it's another
all-
whole
David,
job
you
for
just-
a whole $25. And mind you, in our contract also states you can miss practice, like Bailey said. So we miss out on weddings, on graduations, funerals, family trips, because it's
We're
literally
not allowed to take time off.
you can't take any time off. You don't have like freebies. And if you for some reason miss out on a practice because you lost tooth or whatever, don't come to another game. I mean,
You're
there's only
benched
10
the
games,
next
so you miss one game, or you
So then you don't get paid that game either because they
you don't
bench
get paid. You don't get paid for the appearances
No.
or whatever. So it's really, and it's like from what May, all
from
the way leading.
April all the way through January is the
Yeah.
year.
And even after the year ends, you
We're
still
still
doing
performing.
appearances. There's appearances going on. So if you're like a selected, I got picked a lot because I was one Latina. So I got picked a lot for being Latin, and I was a redhead when I was in the team. So it was always like me, a redhead, a white girl, a black girl. It was always like a combination of different. So I
Right.
got picked a lot to do a lot of appearances. So it's a lot of sacrifices that you also have to, go through. And
The groping from the men and the catcalling and then all the extra shit you got to deal with from the drunk and unruly fans on top of it, and the people following you home and the stalkers
I had
and the
two
letters from the
guys
people in
follow me
jail.
home.
Yeah, like men from jail house. We got so much jail mail, it's ridiculous. Like fan mail.
Let me ask you a question. So I can't remember. You said jail mail. I can't do it. I can't take it. You got your jail mail?
And then
Oh
you
my
get
God.
very explicit, dirty requests from jail
my
mail.
God. That's
Okay.
incredible. Let me ask you guys a question. So Bailey said that even after the season, they had you guys working.
Yeah, we had appearances.
So what is the season start and end time for cheerleaders? Because for football, it's like a month before the season starts. We have training camp, and then when the season's over, it's over. And then a few months later, you're on the team. You come back, you start practicing. So if you got to make it every year, when is the start date and when is the stop date?
Well, prep classes start in February because tryouts are April.
So you start prepping in February, but you're not on the
February.
team.
No, you're prepping to make the team again in April.
Oh, so you got to be there prepping for free from February, March, all the way to April.
Actually, no, you have to pay to go to prep classes.
Yeah, you're right.
You have to pay.
You got to pay them to prep, and then where is this? This sounds like a racket. This sounds like a mob racket. So,
Yes.
so in April, then when you make the team, right? In April, when you make the team, what happens in May, June, and July?
That is what you call training camp. That's our training camp. And we need 3 months because we have to learn 25 brand new routines and perfect them to the point where you have them memorized, where somebody can go usher and immediately every girl goes like this. So each dance has a code word for it. And the minute somebody goes, give me another one, Susie.
Gosh.
Shake.
Shake, whatever.
It starts like this. Like
So as soon as they say the word, you start doing it.
You know what it is.
it goes shake. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Boom, boom. Okay.
You ready
And
to
who's
start
and
a
is there?
count?
And is it just the captain who would say the word?
Or the co-captain if the captain's not
Well,
currently.
we're split into 4 groups.
I
So
got you.
40 girls that make the team, and then you split into 4 groups, and every group is in every corner of the stadium.
And someone's the
And you
captain.
rotate. Every quarter, you rotate.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Someone's the co-captain. Yeah, so you're in
Yeah.
each quarter. So if you start in corner 1, you end up in corner 4 by the end of the game.
every
Oh,
group-
Every
Like a captain and a
every
co-captain.
fan has seen you, or your family member at least that's sitting.
right. And And so while you're learning from April to basically the season, are you still paying, or they start paying you?
No, you don't get paid to practice.
Into the game. You get paid for the first game.
And that's it.
That's it.
And you get a $25 payment.
And they take taxes out. It's not 25. It's not 25. You get taxes out.
They take the taxes out of it, so you get 20?
23 something. I don't remember how much.
Yeah.
So today,
I think they make more now.
so what are they making in 2025, 26?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, but post lawsuit, they now get paid to practice, and they also get paid more money per game. And the captains make more money than the regular.
So you guys feel like us as football players, right? We feel like, holy cow, they're getting paid in college. We didn't get paid in college. Holy cow, this guy that played my position when I made $1 million, now he's making $20 million. Like, you guys feel like, man, we came in too early.
I mean, overall, because even now, I think about it, maybe back then if we had social media, maybe we would have a little bit more, I would have become an influencer or some sort of thing, because I would have been exposed more.
You have more opportunity.
Right, more opportunities.
Also had so many stalkers. Like, there were people that followed the cheerleaders like their whole career. Like, if you were off a team and you came back on, they found you right away. They were like, "Oh, she's back," and they'd start writing you again. It was a lot of fan mail, because back then it wasn't like they didn't have our personal emails and access to it.
They could follow your life and see you on Instagram. So the only time that I really got to see you were at an appearance or at the games, like Bailey said, at the fan zones. They would come before and be like, "Oh my God, I brought you a teddy bear, and I bought you a cup, and I bought you this," and because you really did have, like Bailey said, fans, and some of them were men that were literally just there to come and watch you. They were
absolutely true. And what's crazy is, like, going back to like your question about us looking at our daughters mentally, right?
Yeah.
Mentally, a lot. When I came on the team my first year, I was 27. I already had a child, or 28. I already had a daughter, right? So I came on the team, and most of the girls that are coming onto the team are 17, 18, 19 years old. They're just graduating high school. Or they're in college. They still live with their parents. So $25 a game, they're not thinking about how much money they're making, right? But I came on, and I was a wife, a mom. I owned a mortgage company. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And when you look at it, right, you're like, okay, well, I'm doing it because of the notoriety. I was doing it because, like, I came from Canada. I'm in America. I need the camaraderie and the friendship and the sorority and that whole thing. But then to look at, like, wow, the girls that were just sitting there taking everything they were saying, like, I was not a taker. I was like a who the fuck are you talking to right now person. And that was a little abrasive with me, because I was older. I was like, why are you talking to me like that? And I was watching them talk to them in this manner. And these are youth brains, like 17, 18-year-old women who are very influential, and watching them starve themselves to, like, make calendar, to be on the show team, or to do something else, was like, I was like, I'm not starving myself. If they don't like what I look like, I'm going to quit. But this was their, like, they were like, do or die. This was like everything they dreamt of, because they'd been like, this is the highest level you can get to professionally as a dancer, other than being on, like, Broadway or TV or something like that. The NFL is like, it's the NFL. Anybody else is a cheerleader in college, and I look at them, I was like, well, I was an NFL cheerleader. I've, like, already, that's like trump card.
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, you didn't make it to the NFL. I didn't need to do all that dancing you did.
Right.
Walked on the field, and they was like, yep, come on, girl. But watching these 17, 18-year-olds who had, like, been working their whole life to get to this point be so broken at the end of a practice, or at the end of a tongue
broken and broke.
Broken and broke, yes, Susie. Broken and broke, like, from a tongue lashing from the director, like, in front of the group. Like, just the way they would speak to them was just like, I was like, I can't do anything about this at this point. But mentally, I could see how, like, people were really traumatized and messed up and sad. Like, a girl jump splits. I'm 28 years old. Never did a split in my life. Now you want me to hook up to 40 other women and fly in the air with my legs and land on my crotch with my legs in one shot at the same time as everybody else?
That's hard.
Practicing this. And I was like, I'm going to kill myself. Like, this is really going to kill me. Like, this is going to put me in the grave for sure. This like hell on earth. And one girl was at the end of the row and she did it and tore her whole knee up. And you know what we did? They made us pick her up and put her in her car so she could drive herself home, and we never saw her again.
Wow.
Yeah, like shit like
Incredible.
And no one goes and, like she says, check up on you. No one sends you get well flowers or balloons.
Right.
No, like,
sorry, try again next
well, too bad.
So I have a question for you both. This is we're coming down to the end, but I got a question for you both since we've gone on to this subject. How like I talk about how my coaches through the years of being coached have helped me with my mental health in a positive manner. The power to push through and to be accountable to myself and the responsibility and how that's really helped me. How has cheerleading helped you guys in your mental health? There's got to be an aspect to the showing up, the time you have to be there, the no excuses, and working hard, studying the playbook, understanding you're not going to get paid, but still showing up and being a part of the team. I want you guys to tell me, and Bailey, we'll let you go first, and since Susy's our guest, we'll let Susy go last. But how did cheerleading help you guys with your mental health? That what did cheerleading bring to the table for you?
I think for me, I think Susy's answer is going to trump mine, because I don't really feel like I got anything like that from cheerleading for me, because I was too old when I started. So I saw the opposite side of it. I think for me, my resilience came from my military background and my because nothing was worse than that. Like I did the Dolphins, and I always knew I could quit and I wouldn't be upset about it. So for me, out of cheerleading, what I mostly got was actually Susy. Like I got you and Susy. You're like my two best friends. Like, look at what we've done together.
Yeah.
And so cheerleading, for real, I would have never met you and Jason. Casey Rosenhaus is literally like, she was in my group. So that's why I was at the wedding for her and Jason. And then that's how I met you. And then Susy and I met from the calendar shoot that year, and then talked to Chelia Knowles' birthday party for her kid. And then it evolved from that. So that's really what I got out of the cheerleading, was the friendships I have. Like Nicole Van Valen's helping us because she's a former cheerleader, but I never actually cheered with Nicole, not one time. But because she's an alumni, she's still my cheer sister. So I didn't have the luxury of going to college, but my sorority came from this cheerleading piece.
Right. So they're like your family.
Totally are. Almost all my friends are former Dolphin cheerleaders.
You know something you said, Bailey, that's very interesting. It just hit me. You may be the only woman that came from the military and then went to cheerleading.
Oh, no, Marcia Wooden, Sean Wooden's wife. She's also former military.
Wow. So military, we got to get her on the show. Like, you guys, that's interesting, because the military is trying to mentally change you into this, tough person, right? And then you come out of the military and go to cheerleading where you're putting on pom-poms and a skirt. It's just, to me, that's sort of mind-blowing. It's like you come from this military background and then you go, I want to cheer. It's an interesting transition.
Well, and it's also a lower level of the process and the conformity that they're trying to do. So if you think about it, in the military, you're making you conform so that you all look the same, you think the same, and you respond to commands the same.
There you go.
Because we all have to look exactly the same. We have to move at the same time, and you have to respond to the commands, which would
helped you.
So it really actually was probably the only thing that helped me, since I didn't have a dance background.
Right. Wow. All right, Susy, what's your answer in terms of how's cheerleading helped you from, your mental health, or, the way you approach life?
Well, besides what Bailey mentioned about, the family and meeting her and having that, because to this day, I still, like, when I talk to my MDC sisters, we call each other, you still feel like, you go back to that time and reminisce. And so besides that, I think it built my self-esteem better.
Right.
Maybe being in a group and knowing that I it encouraged me more to want to like be better myself, and being able to know that I went into a team not knowing nothing and came out a better dancer, self-confidence better. I was able to talk to people in front of other people and be able to be not afraid to stand out to myself. I think I took that from cheerleading. Besides all the experience and everything, I think that to me, it molded me to become a better woman. And it made me feel a sense of like like my family was proud, my country was proud, like, because I came out of like nothing, and I was this person that had no experience, and I was in the NFL. Like Bailey said, you see other people that are in college and this, and oh well, I was an NFL cheerleader, and I was a cheerleader when Dan Marino was in the team, and I saw Tom Brady when he first came into in the Patriots when he was still a rookie, and so you have all these stories that you can share that are like amazing, and to this day, it's like something that to me is, I'll never forget it. It marked my life, and it gave me the ability to be able to meet other people. And so much I owe a lot to that organization, just because despite all the dark side, like you said, just because I feel like I wouldn't have had the opportunities that otherwise I would have if I was not part of the team.
That's awesome. So we come down to the last question. What are three, and we ask this to all of our guests, what are three things you love to do, Susy, that ultimately put you in a great mindset? What are three things that help you with your mental health, that when you want to just put yourself at level 10, 9, a high number 8, what's some things that you do so that our viewers, can hear some of the tools that they can use? What are some things that you do?
Well, I always sometimes have women come and ask me, they're like, you're how old? Why? What do you do? Like, what? I mean, there's no secret, right? There's no secret pill. There's nothing. I always say that obviously my family comes first, but there's always two things that I never sacrifice. I always say, besides family, I always worry about my fitness, and I always worry about my beauty. I always make sure that I am put together, that I go to get my hair salon when I need to, that I do my nails when I need to, that she laughs because I'm always telling her that I always put myself together, because even I may be having a bad day, and I know that a lot of women can relate. You will go into a hair salon and you come out and your hair looks beautiful. You will feel beautiful immediately.
You feel better.
And I have to feel beautiful inside
and
to be able to feel beautiful from the outside. So for me, it's very important for me to, cheer myself on to be able to do that kind of stuff. Making sure that, that my family is good, or my mother is good, my siblings, my kids, that everybody's good to me. Seeing them happy fulfills me. And, just like I said before, just being able to give out to others, helping out somebody in need. I am known to being very like giving my shirt off my back, just whenever anybody needs me, I'm always open and willing to help anybody out. To me, it's that, and just having time, just spending time with my family and with friends. I mean, it's pretty much it. I'm very simple. Going to the beach, enjoying, traveling. I love to travel, meet new people, go to places,
That's awesome.
She's always been an inspiration for me, because I'm the queen of letting myself go. And
yes, you are.
She is the first one that will be like, hey girl, you see them edges? You see them grays? Did you see them? So I always thank her for that, because she's right. You get a new hairstyle, you get a new do, you get your nails done. It always lifts your spirits in some form or fashion. And we are so grateful, Susy, for you being on the show with us today. We're so grateful for you being a part of the Kennedy Kids organization, and for all the light and hot-filled air that you bring to us on a regular basis from Dani's Balloons. So if you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please visit kennedykids.org and click on our resources tab so that you can have a look at all of the great information that's out there that we put together for your mental health toolbox to be filled. If someone is struggling and needs urgent care, please have them dial 911 immediately. And of course, if you need someone to talk to The Suicide and Crisis Hotline is open 24/7, and that number is 988. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Susie.